Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another live stream. We are talking yet again more Alexander Isak stuff, more Alexander Isak lies. We're also talking Jorgen Strand Larsen. Is the Alexander Isak situation purely now dependent on whether or not Newcastle managed to buy Strand Larsen? If reports are to be believed, it is possible. If reports are to be believed, Newcastle will be back in for Larsen, and a deal could very well be on the cards. A lot of Newcastle journalists are stating that Strand Larsen is the Callum Wilson replacement rather than the Alexander Isak replacement. But is that just more Newcastle journalistic lies? Is that just more mistruths, misleading statements from the Newcastle media? That's what we're going to be diving into today a little bit more. We're going to be looking at that. We're going to be talking Jorgen Strand Larsen going to Newcastle. We're going to be talking more about the Alexander Isak situation and anything else that you guys want to talk about. As always with these, I absolutely love doing these live streams because I get to interact with each and every single one of you. And you guys throw in some interesting questions, some statements, and hopefully we might get a bit of breaking news whilst we're live as well. There's always a possibility of that. So strap yourselves in, get comfortable, hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and probably be greatly appreciated. And of course, get involved in the chat, whether it's about the topics of conversation at hand here or whether it is about anything else that you guys may want to talk about. Maybe you want to talk about Kobbie Mainoo leaving or potentially leaving Manchester United. Maybe you want to talk about Gianluigi Donnarumma's future as well. Is he going to be going to Manchester City in the remaining days of this transfer window? Let me know what you guys want to sit here and talk about over the course of maybe at least the next hour. We'll see how we're all going with this as to how long we'll go. But yeah, big up to each and every single one of you that's in the chat. Big up to Marco, who's here already. My guy, thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. He says that Wolves might not want to let Larsen go now. He was very important for them yesterday. Bagged 2 late goals. Wolves need a good striker to stay up. Well, the interesting part on this whole Larsen deal is there's been 2 bids now rejected by Wolves on Larsen. The latest being a £55 million bid that was put in last night by the Magpies, as reported by David Ornstein, as we will bring up here. Here we go. Jorgen Strand Larsen not agitating to leave Wolverhampton Wanderers, but keen on making Newcastle United move. Wolves turned down improved £55 million bid from Newcastle for the 25-year-old striker and still intend to keep Norway international amid ongoing pursuit. That is what was broken from David Ornstein yesterday. And the news coming out today is that there is a price tag on his shoulders. There is I believe it's somewhere in the region of 60 to 70 million pounds, could even be 65, somewhere in between those kinds of numbers that Wolverhampton Wanderers are holding out for. They obviously are reluctant to get rid of him. Strand Larsen doesn't appear to be in any position to say whether or not he's going to be staying or going. I feel like he's happy to do whatever the club intends. If the club decide to sell him, then he'll go. If the club decide to keep him, then he'll stay. He doesn't really seem to be fussed whichever way this situation goes. And fair play to him for that. Fair play that if that is what he wants, and that is obviously his desire to just go wherever the wind takes him, then fair enough. But it's a big fee. It's going to be dependent on whether or not Newcastle do in fact go in for him. I think they do, because it goes hand in hand with what was being said after the Monday night game between Liverpool and Newcastle. There was reports coming out from Newcastle journalists that representatives and even Newcastle owners had actually spoken to Isak face to face, allegedly, in an attempt to try and keep him. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if they have said before that they have no intention of selling him, he will not be sold, why are you trying to tempt him to stay? This whole leaving him to rot in the reserves kind of talk was being spoken about not so long ago. But doesn't that kind of throw a bit of a spanner in the works if Newcastle and their owners were literally trying to convince him to stay? Why are they trying to convince him to stay? I thought this was on Newcastle's part. I thought this was Newcastle's decision. I thought this was the whole entire saga was resting on Newcastle's decision. So why are they trying to convince him to stay if it's not on them? And I get that maybe there could have been discussions of maybe a new contract involved, and maybe they were, and obviously they were ultimately trying to convince him to return to training and return to obviously trying to reintegrate back into the squad. I just think bridges are burnt too much now. And I think Newcastle have already lost so much. Like, Newcastle could have just took the money and ran with it, spent it on whoever and whatever, and then they might not have even lost as many points as what they already have done. They could have got potentially 3 more points at the very least. They could have potentially got 3 more points at the very least than what they already have this season if they got a striker, if they took the money from Liverpool and put it towards realistic signings rather than going too ambitious. Instead, they tried to play the big club card. It's not worked. It's backfired. And ultimately, I think it's cost them points. Has keeping Isak been worth it? Has it been worth it in terms of keeping him to maybe not get the amount of money that you could have got earlier? And has it been worth it on the pitch to only get 1 point from a possible 6? Has that been worth it to make your statement and to make your stand? I'm not 100% convinced it has been, in all honesty. Big up Liverpool Goals TV. Are you doing well, my bro? Lovely to have you back with us. Wolves will sell Larsen at the right price. Newcastle has a second bid rejected now, so third bid should seal it. You hope so, and you also hope that Newcastle are not just doing this kind of stuff to like pretend to Isak. Look, we are trying. It's just we can't get the deal done because there is obviously again hypocrisy and lies there. Because although they may be trying to, it goes back to the point that we've been making for the past few weeks, which is they want Liverpool to pay up the money for Isak, but it's okay for them to simply go, well, we see what you're trying to do here by setting the asking price, so we're going to pay way below the asking price instead. You want 60 million? We're going to pay 35 million. How about that? It doesn't work that way. And again, that's the hypocrisy. That's the lies of this entire saga. And yet, Liverpool are the bad guys, allegedly. And Newcastle are just the good guys trying to not be bullied by a bigger team. It's amazing how stuff like that works. Seems if Grimsby win tonight at Norman Butcher, that would be amazing. Big up to Grimsby. Fingers crossed for them. Good luck to each and every single one of them players, fans, and obviously manager and coaching staff. Would be amazing if they did do an incredible job tonight. I don't think they will necessarily, but, you know, stranger things have happened. Upsets do happen. You reckon Larsen will throw a fit? Isak style? No, it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening, especially with there only being a few days left of the transfer window. I think he's happy to go wherever the wind takes him. I think I personally think that if a bid comes in and it's accepted, I think he'll be happy to go, but I think he'll also be happy to stay if a bid does not come in that is accepted. So I think Larsen's just chilled out and is just going to go with the flow on this one. When you see the unity and the passion the other night at St James's Park, it's a shame that Isak doesn't want to play for them, especially since Newcastle brought him into the Prem to begin with. Yeah, but you could say that with every team down the years. This is the thing. Like, every team thinks that their club is different, and everyone thinks that their club acts this way. I mean, I made the reference the other day, yesterday even, that I was talking to Reluctant Gamer yesterday in the chat, and I basically made the reference that I can't sit there and not praise Newcastle when I praised other teams over the years for going down to 10 men or going through difficult times with certain players and not managing to pull through. I praised Liverpool a couple of years ago for the whole Tottenham Hotspur debacle with the stupid linesman, the stupid referee, the good process boys guys, them guys that incorrectly ruled Luis Diaz's perfectly onside goal to be offside. And I praise Liverpool for the amount of passion and energy and commitment that each and every single one of them showed. And even though we lost because of an unfortunate Joel Matip own goal, I was still very proud of that team. The same way that Newcastle United were very proud of their team on Monday. And rightfully so, they should be. We also went down to 9 men in that Liverpool-Tottenham game. 2 players sent off. Curtis Jones and Diogo Jota. God rest in peace. But the commitment shown by the players was just amazing. Was just incredible. And here's the thing. Every single one of our clubs has probably a story like that. And we all go, why would you not want to play for this club? Why would you not want to play for this club? Because every other club has that kind of story. It's about, at the end of the day, for Isak, it's not about necessarily having that. I'm sure that comes part and parcel with it. But he's going to get that wherever he goes because he's just that good of a player. The only difference, obviously, between Liverpool and Newcastle is Liverpool are more likely, not a guarantee, but more likely to win the major honours over Newcastle in the immediate future because we're built in a better way right now. We are with a good standing, a good stature, good build, and Isak just adds and reinforces how strong we would be. That's the only difference. Isak told them no thanks already. Yeah, it was amazing that basically every Newcastle journalist was running this as like a exclusive, and yet it didn't take a genius or a Nostradamus to work out that was always going to be the stance, and it will be the stance for the next few days until the deadline passes or this gets resolved. Isak's stance will remain the same. What happens after the deadline, if he stays at least, is going to be more interesting because does he go back with his tail between his legs, try and reintegrate with the side and then maybe look for a move in January? Or does he double down and does he remain adamant that he should be leaving, he's not going to return to the squad, and that he's going to be doing everything he can to get out of Newcastle by January? That's going to be the interesting part. It's crunch time now. Only 4 more days of transfer market is open. I'm surprised we haven't done anything in the past 24 hours. I really am surprised. I was hoping for something on Gahey. That's not happened. I was hoping for some more movement on this. We're being too respectful here. The last cards that both Liverpool and Newcastle, and Isak have to play. Isak's last card is his transfer request. That's the last card that Isak can play. And the last card that Liverpool can play is just by going, here's the 150. You wanted 150. Here's the 150. Take it or leave it. And if you leave it, then we all know you were lying to begin with. We all know you were lying about the price tag. Because they've always said 150 and 2 replacements. Has it been 150 or 2 replacements? I don't know. But Liverpool have been too respectful in going, all right, we've got a bid prepared. We'll wait for you to go and get your replacement. But then when you get your replacement, that bid's going straight in. We've been too respectful, I think, in this. Considering that Newcastle seem to be the makers of their own downfall in this transfer window. They can't even buy a replacement for Callum Wilson. They can't buy a replacement for someone who, I think I remember reading, had about 500 minutes in the Premier League last season. Let me just double check. I think he played 500 minutes in the Premier League last season. Not even that. For 357 minutes. The man played 357 minutes in the Premier League last season, and Newcastle can't even find a replacement for that. And you're telling me that a 60 million, 65 million Strand Larsen is going to be the replacement for Wilson and not the replacement for Isak? What are we doing here? Who's believing this stuff? Big up AR, hope you're doing well, my bro. Lovely to have you on board with us this afternoon. Next up, Arsenal at Anfield. We need squad depth and reinforcements. I am terrified of that game. I'm just terrified because we can't defend set pieces. And what's Arsenal strong at? Oh, set pieces. Oh, what a coincidence. Oh, great. Fantastic. Konate needs to sort his head out by then. If we're to have any hope of winning that game, either Van Dijk is going to have to put in the performance of a lifetime in which he's going to have to do everything and anything in his power to stop Arsenal from scoring set pieces. And Konate is going to have to sort his head out. Because every time Arsenal get the ball from a dead ball situation, I am going to be terrified. I am going to be absolutely terrified. Simple as that. Every cross that goes in, every corner, every free kick, I am going to be scared. It's not going to go well. I don't even want to think about it right now. In all honesty, I really, really don't. It's the stuff of nightmares, man. The stuff of nightmares. We couldn't deal with it against Newcastle. So imagine what's going to happen when a better, more polished team from set pieces is dealing with that. We need Alisson and Van Dijk on point. Interesting comments from Arnie Slot. He said he was impressed with Ekatike and that he scored 2 goals in 2 games and that he is the main striker and that there is no need to talk about other strikers. Yeah, he's going to say that because, again, somewhat respectfully, Isak's not a Liverpool player as of this moment. If he does become a Liverpool player, then I'm sure the conversation does improve. And if you want to throw in the Community Shield, of course, it's 3 goals in 3 games. But, yeah, Ekatike started life well and fair play to him. Love it. Absolutely love that he started life well. 2 games, 4 goals. We need to stop conceding goals. Yeah. Need to stop conceding goals and we need to stop going 2-0 up only to concede 2 goals to make it 2-2. I don't know why we're just so shaky. And the goals that we're conceding are not even like amazing goals. Like, they are easily preventable. Like, the first Bournemouth goal, we lose possession in the midfield. One ball cuts our defence open. Another ball into the box. No one's tracking Semenyo, and he scores. The second goal, Semenyo's allowed to run from inside his own half through the heart of our midfield and defence and find the back of the net. The first goal for Newcastle, we failed to deal with a long throw-in. Kirkez's shockingly bad defending at the back post. And then the second Newcastle goal, again, long ball from a free kick, not dealt with. No one's tracking the runner, and the runner scores. Like, they're all preventable. They're all preventable, and they're seemingly basic mistakes, but we're just not there right now defensively. We're just not there defensively right now. It's like we can probably get one or two good performances out of our defenders, but the rest are like meh. The rest are poor. Konate's been all over the place. Maybe his head is in Madrid, and if so, get out of my club and go and join Trent at Madrid. If you're not willing to play, if your head's not in the game, I don't want you at my club. Simple as that. We need to sort out our defence and midfield positions. Yeah, absolutely. Big up Ajiri. How you doing, well, my bro? Strand Larsen and Nicholas Jackson and Vissa should sign for 60 million more deal and add-ons for Jackson. Deal for Newcastle United now. Jackson's going Bayern Munich, bro. Jackson is going on loan to Bayern Munich. Why? I don't know. I'm sure as the backup to Harry Kane, it's okay, I guess. But again, why is a team like Bayern Munich looking at Nicholas Jackson, but yet certain Newcastle fans were telling me that Nicholas Jackson is not a sufficient replacement for them? But he is for Newcastle. Oh, sorry, for Bayern Munich. It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's an interesting one. Newcastle United, long ball FC. I mean, we did a lot of long balls, to be fair, but we were pretty poor. We were pretty poor. And let's face it, their long balls were effective. It's just a way to play. It's just a different way to play. I'm not joining in on this long ball debate, this long ball argument. It's just a different way to play. Some people prefer it. Some people like it. Some people don't. And that's fine, because we all have our preferences of how we like to play our football. But sometimes you just have to play with what is effective. And I don't think there was too much difference in terms of Liverpool's long ball approach and their long ball approach. It is what it is. We will score but concede as well. If things don't improve, that's what it's going to be. And that's not a sufficient way to win the Premier League title, in my opinion. It's just we're going to score more goals than you. And to be fair, with the attacking power we have, most teams, I reckon we could outscore. Most. But it's not going to work every week. We have been very prolific this season, though, so far. So, fair play for that. But, again, there's only so far that the potential of that could take you. Sensei handball was a red card. Yeah, it's amazing that a lot of people have sort of brushed over that. But I've seen... No one really talked about it either. They talked about it in the moment. They talked about the handball in the moment. But after the handball had happened, it was all back to the usual Liverpool agenda. Just because Konate didn't get sent off. And I'm like, okay, but Joelinton's high foot on Salah was not punished. And although I wouldn't have any arguments if the referee did give a second yellow card to Konate, we did get a little fortunate there. The fact of the matter is that the referee didn't give it. Bruno Guimaraes got a yellow card. And then you could potentially argue that Guimaraes should have got a second yellow himself for a foul on Chiesa later in the game. But again, it doesn't fit the Liverpool agenda. No one wants to talk about the handball last week. No one wants to talk about Joe Linton this week, because this week, everybody was against us. Everybody that was a rival, everybody that was a neutral was against us. For the love of football, Newcastle need to win on Monday night. That was what everybody was saying. Liverpool against the world. Just how it is when you're that successful and that hated, I guess. The occasion really got to Gordon. Even before the red card, he seemed too riled up, and he is from Liverpool. I said yesterday in the watch along, in the review and the live stream I did, my thought on the Gordon red card is that the Newcastle fans that were bigging it up all week, like this is some sort of war, this is some sort of battle, this is going to have blood literally on the hands of some of these players, and these players are going to be leaving marks on each other and injuring Liverpool players, and you know, Joe Linton's going to have to be bailed out of prison and all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like it did rub off on the players a little bit, and it was a positive effect to begin with. But the goal that Ryan Gravenberch scored changed the game, because once that goal went in, Newcastle and St James's Park went down like a deflated balloon. There was like that was the pin that popped the balloon, popped the atmosphere. And in a way to try and reinflate the balloon in the atmosphere, Anthony Gordon went, I'm going to go in on Van Dijk. I'm going to go in, crunching tackle on Van Dijk. I'm going to get the crowd back up. Because before that, everything that they were doing, every defensive contribution, every attack that they were doing, every challenge that they were doing was being greeted by a massive roar from the crowd. Gordon thought that if he did that, he'd get the crowd back into the game. And then he ends up getting it completely wrong. And he ends up getting sent off for it. And that is where that extra level of adrenaline really backfired on Newcastle. Really did backfire on Newcastle, like you say. I'm low-key super excited for Fenerbahce to see if they can enter the Champions League. I have a soft spot for the special one, and I follow his teams. We'll be supporting Mourinho tonight. Yeah, the Champions League will definitely will benefit from having Jose Mourinho back. And I hope they do, and I hope the draw on Thursday actually does see Liverpool get Fenerbahce, because I'd love to go up against Mourinho one more time. He's one of them ones that you love to hate and you hate to love. You love to hate him and you hate to love him at the same time, because he's just got just such a great personality. It's incredible. Rio and Gamoa over Isak. Let's not jump too hasty on the comparisons and all that stuff just yet. But I'm still very happy for the young kid, and I've watched his goal about 1,000 times already, and it just gets better and better each time. Someone put it with Titanic music as well, which just added to it. It was perfect. We need centre-back, CDM, and Isak. We definitely need that Gahey. This is the thing. The Gahey deal seems wide open. It seems like an open goal, and yet we're messing around, and I don't understand what we're doing. The Gahey deal seems easy. Am I missing something? Like, am I missing something with this Gahey deal that as to why we haven't tied it up yet? Does anybody know what I'm missing here? It seems like it's there for the taking, in the palm of our hands, and we're just messing around going, oh, could you just shave off like $1 million? And I don't know. What are we doing? Just go and get him. Especially with Konate looking as frail and as messed up and as all over the place as he is. Just go and get him. We need Chiesa as backup. Yeah, we definitely need to keep Chiesa. I think, obviously, now I think we have done and we will. Just hope that his fitness stays out. Just hope his fitness holds out. You can't just expect Liverpool to get finessed and cough up 150 million. I mean, who is Isak? Neymar or something? Ronaldo or Messi never went for 150, even with inflation. They probably would have done with inflation, but even so, like, I get what you mean. I've never bought into this whole 150 million thing or nothing, because that's not how negotiations and transfer deals usually work. Yeah, the selling team may say a number to begin with, but it's very, very rare that number's ever met. It's very rare that a team comes up to another team and goes, "I want that player. Okay, you can have that player, but for 70 million." And they go, 70 million. Oh, that's a bit too steep for me. How about 50 million? No. How about 65 million? How about 60 million? Done. That's how negotiations work. Teams don't unless there's like a release clause or something involved. Teams very rarely go for the opening offer from a selling club. It's just the way it goes. And like I said before, the hypocrisy of Newcastle is that they expect Liverpool to pay the 150 million, but it's okay for them to go around going, "Oh, Johan Viss is available for 60 million. Let's pay 30. Let's pay 35. Let's add some add-ons to make it 40. Oh, Strand Larsen's going for 70 million. Let's just put in a 50 million pound bid instead." Like, that's the pure hypocrisy, and nobody is calling it out other than Liverpool fans. And then when Liverpool fans do that, it's, "Oh, you're entitled. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. This stuff, the lies, the misleading truths, everything, and the worst part is it's all stemming from the media and these journalists. And rival fans are buying into it, and Newcastle fans are buying into it. And overall, they might be right. In a few days' time, they might be right in terms of Isak stays at Newcastle, like they've claimed all summer. But that doesn't mean that the layers of this story, the little bits and pieces of this story that has built up to this crescendo of a transfer deadline day, haven't been right at all. Because there have been lies, there has been hypocrisy, there has been stupid moments. There has been moments where they basically turned around and said he's not for sale, but he could be for sale for 150 million. Well, I'm sorry, but if there's a 150 million price tag on his shoulders, then therefore he is for sale. No one's calling out Victor Gyökeres for the way that he left Sporting Lisbon. Why would they? It's Sporting Lisbon. They're not an English team. No one's calling out Johan Visser for doing the same thing at Brentford for most of the summer. Why would they? It's Brentford. With all due respect to Brentford, nobody cares outside of the Brentford fan base because they're not a bigger team, with all due respect. They're not a traditional top six team, or even like a historic team like a Newcastle, like an Everton, or whoever. No one really cares, with all due respect. I can't stress that enough. With all due respect, I do like Brentford a little bit with the whole Thomas Frank and Brian Mbeumo and everything. But no one's calling that out. But yet they call it out when it's Isak. Yet they call it out with that. And the worst part about the whole thing is that Liverpool have been made to look the bad guys because of the actions of Alexander Isak. Now, I agree, I can't prove this for fact. I can't cast this as a stone cold iron fact, right? However, I'm convinced no Liverpool fan, player, or representative of the club in any way, shape, or form is telling Alexander Isak, don't go to training, don't do this, don't do that, don't take part in any sort of Newcastle PR. I reckon these actions of Alexander Isak are purely off of Alexander Isak himself. All Liverpool have done in this situation is be too respectful. I think too respectful. They've basically gone to Newcastle and gone, okay, just so you know, we've got a bid ready, but that bid will not go in until you've got yourself a brand new striker to replace him. As soon as that happens, we'll jump in, we'll do our business. It's a respectful bid. It is a world record bid. It's right there for the taking. Just give us the word and you will have it. That's all Liverpool have done. Nothing disrespectful, nothing entitled about it. And yet the spin from everybody that Liverpool are the bad guys, Liverpool are this, Liverpool are that, Liverpool are the other. And the hypocrisy going off around them that they're just turning a blind eye to is baffling to me. It's absolutely baffling the way that this story's been covered. I'm sick of talking about it, as I've said on multiple streams before, but it's the only thing that is really properly going on right now and obviously has the biggest kind of pull in terms of interaction and people talking about it. And of course, it affects my team as well. So I do have a vested interest in this. But it's just, I don't get it. If anybody can explain it to me, if anybody out there, whether they're from a Newcastle perspective or if they're from an outside perspective, as to why Liverpool are being made out to be the bad guys, without it just being because it's Liverpool, I'd love to know. I would genuinely love for you guys to tell me in the chat if this is entirely possible, because I genuinely don't know. I genuinely do not know, and I'm stumped. I am completely and utterly stumped at this entire thing. I really, really am. Is there something I'm missing? Is there a piece of information that I've overlooked? Is there a fact out there that I've not seen? I want to know, because I'm genuinely stumped as to why Liverpool are being made out to be the bad guys in this situation. Why Liverpool are not all there right now in the eyes of a lot of people. I'm baffled. I genuinely am. Bruno's meltdown over a ref that slightly nudged him as he backed away, as you do, was shocking, as was the pen. The referee was poor for both sides. The referee was shocking for both sides. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind about it. And this is the thing as well. I feel like the Premier League has to step in and go, look, we know the situation that's going on behind the scenes. So this game is going to be potentially very feisty. It's going to be very hostile. It's going to be very loud in terms of the fans. And there's going to be a lot of pressure that is put on the referee, on the linesman, and not directly, but indirectly on then VAR and things like that. And the referee did not handle it well. That's where the Premier League has to step in and be like, look, we need the best referee on this. We need to tell these refs, look, this is the situation you're going to be in. So you're going to need to improve. you're going to need to be on your A game. You're going to need to understand the situation, play the game, not the occasion. Stick to the rules. Stick to consistency as best you can, because I understand that getting 100% consistency is impossible. And the ref didn't do that. The ref lost the game within the opening 10, 20 minutes. The ref lost the game. He's letting Newcastle get away with things left, right, and centre, and he's giving free kicks to Newcastle for basically Liverpool players breathing on Newcastle players. He's giving that away. Then he starts brandishing his yellow card out at will. Then he starts giving Liverpool things. And then it's basically a combination of the two, where he goes, I'll pick and choose when to actually play the foul card. Oh, that's a foul. That's not a foul, even though it was the same as that foul, but who cares? The ref just lost the game completely. And the fact that Van Dijk is literally there showing the referee there are stud marks going down his calf, and yet he still needed to go, well, just in case Van Dijk did that himself, I must go and check I must go and check with VAR on this Anthony Gordon situation. Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. But I'm getting sick of talking about VAR as well. I'm getting sick of talking about these referees, but I still will do it, because if we don't, referees, VAR, PGMOL, they all win. They all win. And next week being the international break, I'm going to be very intrigued to see if Howard Webb does his little show with Michael Owen that he normally does during the international break. And if he does, I'm going to be very interested to see what he has to say about certain things. I'm sure it's all pre-prepared. I'm sure he's got his answers that are either back and forth or, very open to interpretation and not exactly detailed and, very, very basic down to a T already. So we shall see. We shall definitely see what the future holds. Big up, Jordan. How you doing, bro? Lovely to have you on board with us. Guys, if you haven't already, go and show some love and support to my boy Jordan. He's doing some incredible stuff over on his channel. You guys will definitely find something that you love over on his channel. He's here, there, and everywhere these days. He's on various different channels himself as well. So big up to you, my bro. Lovely to have you here with us. Jordan, if you're still here, bro, let me know what you think about Isak. Do you think Isak eventually will go to Liverpool in the next few days of this transfer window being open, or do you think Newcastle have basically held out and are going to keep him until at the very least January? Let me know what you think, bro. Nice to know what you have to say on that. Newcastle got no pull and need to understand their level. I think that's the criticism of Newcastle. They've been too ambitious. They've been too ambitious this summer. They attempted to go for the whole Ekitike and Isak situation, which we've now been gaslit into. If this is again another lie and hypocritical moment of Newcastle media. When Newcastle were going after Ekitike, they were stating that it's going to be Ekitike and Isak. Now, whether they play together or whether it's one playing, one coming in as a rotation, or maybe one playing, or maybe they both play up front, or maybe one plays on the wing and one plays up front, whichever way round they were going to do it, the news was it was Ekitike and Isak. Ekitike and Isak. Very important to know the and bit. Fast forward to the past couple of weeks, and the Newcastle journalists have switched their opinions. They've switched their stance, and their stance now is, well, if Liverpool had let Ekitike go to Newcastle, they probably would have got Isak by now. That wasn't the story or the narrative a few weeks ago. That was not the story or the narrative a few weeks ago. The story and narrative a few weeks ago was that you were going to play both Ekitike and Isak together, or you were going to play one and then the other. There was no replacement story. There was no story about Ekitike replacing Isak. It was all about one player in, and they partner the player that's already in. That was the story. That was the story. And then the story changes. And why does the story change? Because it makes Liverpool out to be the bad guys, the morons, the idiots. And it turns the agenda and story that Liverpool brought this on themselves. That this isn't a Newcastle thing. This isn't anything to do with them. But it's Liverpool. Liverpool did this. Liverpool could have got what they wanted by now had they just not been greedy. And yet, we know that that's not the story. Simple as that. The story changes. The story's different. It's baffling. And the Newcastle journalists are still at it. There's a guy here, Francis Chip. Claims to be an award-winning Premier League football expert. Don't actually know if he's genuine or not. If anyone knows, let me know. He's just put he put an hour ago on his social media. If Liverpool want to sign Alexander Isak, why didn't they make another bid as soon as the first one got turned down? Would have given Newcastle more money to find a replacement. Now Liverpool will have to overpay. Their board is insanely incompetent. It's almost like this agenda is now spiraling. Liverpool didn't make a bid because they said that they would allow Newcastle to go out there and find replacements. Liverpool were always going to have to overpay anyway, seemingly. Because you turned down a world record bid. Is this just clickbait? Is this just interaction farming? Or are these Newcastle journalists or journalists just insanely stupid? It's got to be stupidity, right? I think they genuinely believe this stuff. I don't think this is actually recruitment interaction farming or whatever it's called. I genuinely think they are genuinely stupid and actually believe the kind of crap that comes out of their mouths and in their minds and then through their fingers onto their keyboards and onto the screen. I like to think surely you can't be that stupid, but some of these Newcastle journalists are. I mean, you had that moron, Bold Elmer Fudd guy, Luke Edwards. You had Luke Edwards come out again yesterday and basically say that Alexander Isak still hasn't deleted all of his Newcastle pictures on his social media. Does he really want to move to Liverpool? Sounds very half-hearted to him. And that's a professional journalist talking like that. And I have no problem if a journalist wants to talk like that, but there's a time and a place. And the place would be you making your own personal Twitter account and not doing it off of an account where you're basically putting out your professional work. Not saying that journalists can't have their own opinions, but you've got to separate the two, because that kind of quote, that kind of statement, that's something I would expect from a fan. I would expect Newcastle fans to be stating that. That weird Geordie guy who was saying that, oh yeah, Brian Mbeumo's going to Newcastle, but then Man United come in for him so that they pay more money, so that we go for Ekitike, but then Liverpool come in and get him, and then we go for our real prize, which is Benjamin Sesko, and then obviously Man United came in for Sesko. That's the kind of thing I'd expect from that kind of guy, or any of the other kind of loudmouth Newcastle fans that have been, again, roped in by this stupid journalism by some of these players, some of these journalists, but not from a so-called professional journalist. I know Luke Edwards is a complete tool, but it's just so strange. And he's actually been, when I spoke earlier about the narrative that Liverpool should have just let Ekitike go to Newcastle, he's actually been one of the ones pushing that narrative. He's actually been one of the ones that has been pushing the narrative that if Liverpool had just let Ekitike go to Newcastle, then this would have all been over much sooner. And again, he's one of the ones that also pushed out the narrative that Ekitike and Isak were set to play together, or at least set to be in the same squad together. Not as a replacement, but as a unit. So, makes no sense. He lies. He lies. He lies. The lies, the hypocrisy, the constant backtracking. And the worst part about it is if Newcastle don't sell and 7 p.m. hits on Monday and he's still a Newcastle player, he is going to have the biggest, smuggest, most horrible smirk on his face. And he's going to claim he was right. And no matter what you say, to be like, you're not. You are right overall, but about the little details you're not. He's not going to care. That is called delusion, my friends. Oh dear. Anything broke whilst we've been live? I don't know. Just checking to see if anything's broken whilst we've been live. just I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of the lies. I'm sick of no one telling the complete truth, and I'm sick of everybody seemingly suggesting and stating that my club is in some way, shape, or form the bad guys in this situation. Look, could Liverpool have maybe bid sooner? You can maybe throw that argument in there, and I would go, I think you're wrong, but I can understand your point. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what we've done, in my opinion. The same way that I've said all this time, I don't think Isak's conduct has maybe helped the situation, but I'm not going to sit here and call him out on his behaviour because I understand where his behaviour potentially and possibly stems from, as well as where it will stem from what I do know. And on Newcastle's part, again, they're not wrong either. They could have handled it better, 100%. You can maybe have that same argument with Liverpool that you will have with Newcastle, but they're not wrong for wanting to keep their player and wanting this loyalty argument, wanting him to remain loyal to the club. The loyalty argument, by the way, is so dumb. It's so stupid. As I've said time and time again, loyalty is so stupid. Look at what is happening right now with PSG and Donnarumma. Look at what is happening with PSG and Donnarumma. Donnarumma was an absolute beast last season in the Champions League. A massive part of the machine for PSG in terms of their treble winning season, winning the French League, winning the French Cup, and of course, finally obtaining their main goal of winning the Champions League. Now, agreed, he does only have 1 year left on his current deal at the club. That is according to Transfer Market. 1 year left on his current deal. The price reportedly today has been slashed almost in half by PSG. Almost in half. That is what is being reported today. Started off at 50 million. I think it's now down to, I think I read somewhere it may be even as low as 26 million. Any Aluko maths that is half. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I'm just throwing that out there. Is that loyalty? Is that a club showing loyalty to a player? Wanting him out a year before his contract ends, despite the fact that he is a major contributing factor to them winning the Champions League. Without him, they may not have got past Liverpool in the round of 16 stage in the penalty shootout. Without him, they may not have got past Aston Villa when Villa made that incredible comeback in the second leg of their quarter-final game. Without him, Arsenal may have gone on to actually win their second leg. He saved the penalty in that game, as well as a couple of other big stops. Would they have actually gone on to win the Champions League had he not been there? But yet they want him out. They're forcing him out. They've got a new goalkeeper. So loyalty, as I've said all summer, works both ways. It works both ways. just work both ways. And with that being said, again, and I'm sure there are other examples as well of other players that have suffered the same fate. But we pick and choose when to use this loyalty card when it suits our agendas and what we do like. If this was a Newcastle player that nobody liked, nobody cared about, nobody would care that he has 3 years left on his contract. Nobody would care. Nobody would be bringing up loyalty because Newcastle would probably want him out. And that's why I can't wait for when that does eventually happen. When Newcastle eventually turn around to a player and go, thank you for your service, but you're no longer required. I know you have 4 years left on your contract, but you're no longer required. We want to move you on. We want to move you on there could be a number of reasons why they want to move him on. Could be to get him off the wage bill. It could be to free up space for a new incoming signing that they have on the horizon. It could be because a new manager's come in. It could be a whole host of reasons. But when that eventually does happen, because it happens to everybody, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be crying for loyalty. I'm going to be crying that Newcastle need to show loyalty the way that they demanded Alexander Isak do it. Because if it's going to be that they get rid of a player to bring in a new, shiny new toy from elsewhere, that's not loyalty, is it? So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that time. I'm waiting for that time where that's going to happen so that Newcastle can actually understand that you cry out loyalty only to players that you see fit. But where's the loyalty to other players that you've forced out the club over the years? The ones that have left for free, the ones that you deemed weren't good enough. No loyalty there. No loyalty there whatsoever. It's just interesting when we play that card, isn't it? It's just very interesting when we do decide to play that card, when we decide to play it. And like I say, hopefully there is consistency. Hopefully there will be some consistency. And maybe some of the Newcastle fans will call out their own club if or when that does happen. But that's why I decide to remain on the fence on these kind of things, because I know that things can work both ways. I know that in the Isak case, where with his conduct, I have remained on the fence throughout the entirety of that because I understand Isak's point of view. You may not agree with it, but I understand his point of view. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when that does happen, because there's not a rivalry between Liverpool and Newcastle. I know certain Newcastle journalists, again, try to force one in the build-up to the Liverpool-Newcastle game on Monday, but there's no rivalry there. But this Isak thing has sparked something. It has sparked a case for, again, hypocrisy, loyalty, lying, all of that stuff to become something for each club to use over the other going forward. So, like I say, watch this space on that one, but it is going to be an interesting few days of developments. And even beyond that, like I say, Tuesday is going to be an interesting day if Isak's still a Newcastle player. If Newcastle have still got Isak after the deadline on Monday, Tuesday is going to be a very interesting day in terms of what will come out from mainly Isak's camp. What are his representatives going to advise him? What is he thinking? All of that stuff is going to be very interesting to see what will come out on Tuesday. Does he double down? Does he go back with his tail between his legs? Apologizes, reintegrates with the squad? Does he push for a move in January? I'm intrigued to know what is going to go down on Tuesday if Isak is still a Newcastle player. Big up to Reluctant Gamer. I hope you're doing well, my bro. It says that you came and drop a little like on the video. I'm at the doctor's appointment. I hope everything's okay, my dude. I hope you're all well and good, and everything's okay. But I appreciate you doing that, my friend. Really do appreciate that a lot. Guys, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and probably be greatly appreciated. We're still going to go on for a little bit longer. Obviously, get involved in the chat if you haven't already. Would love to know who's here. And as well as that, would love to know what you guys have to say, whether it's about Strand Larsen going to Newcastle or whether it is about anything else that you guys want to talk about. Maybe the Isak situation a little bit more, or maybe some other stuff. I don't know. Maybe there's some other stuff from you guys that you want to talk about as well that's going on in the footballing world. Would love to hear from you all on what you have to say. I'm just going to go through any kind of just going to see if anything is broken whilst we've been live. Allegedly, Liverpool have identified Michael Elise as the perfect replacement for Mo Salah next summer. He obviously has a release clause that becomes active next year. So that's going to be a very intriguing big transfer saga for next year, I think. Especially if he does actually want to leave by Munich. Elise could return to the Premier League. There does seem to be a lot of interest from Premier League clubs. We already know that Chelsea will be interested because they were last time, and I'm sure Man City will not be too far away from that situation as well. I don't care who Newcastle get. We need depth and reinforcements. Why does only start like a small squad? This is the thing. It might not have been like this had the passing of Jota not happened. And I'm not blaming that, of course. It's a horrible, heartbreaking, sad situation. But I think that occurrence hindered certain plans, I think. I don't think Ekatike may have been part of Liverpool's plan. And I don't think it would have been part of Liverpool's plan because we wouldn't have needed two strikers at that point. I think Jota was going to be the second striker and we were going to go all in for Isak. And I think what ended up happening was, obviously, Jota sadly passed away. And we therefore then needed two strikers. And Newcastle decided, we're not going to be bullied. We're going to try and bully you instead. And we just went, all right, mate, we're going to call your bluff. We're going to go after your top target because you won't give us your best player because everybody keeps saying you're not going to sell unless you get a replacement. But at the same time, they're also saying that you're going to buy Ekatike and Isak to play together, to play one over the other for rotation, for playing in different positions, for different for different scenarios, different settings, whatever the case may be. So if that's going to happen, then we're just going to take him off you because you're not obviously going to sell him to us. And that's what happened. We went and got Ekitike. And then you get the stupid, moronic Newcastle journalists that come out and go, this is all Liverpool's fault. If they'd have just let Newcastle have Ekitike, they probably could have had Isak by now. The horrible gaslighting is so transparent and see-through that I'm surprised anybody is still buying it. They were saying that Ekitike was going to be the Callum Wilson replacement. That's what they were saying. But yet, we know that that was not true. We know that that was not true. But they're trying to spin it as the truth right now because it fits their agenda and it fits this whole narrative of trying to make Liverpool out to be the bad guys, trying to make Liverpool out to be this greedy, horrible club that everybody should be turning against. But if you start reading between the lines and you start seeing the bigger picture, you'll understand that that's not necessarily the case. I just want a solution to this, to be honest. I'm so done. I'm so done. I thought there'd be a lot more movement. You know, because it's a Premier League weekend and then you got the deadline day straight after on the Monday. I'm like, I thought there would be more. I thought there'd be more to talk about than just Isak, to be fair. Thought there'd be more. Big up Niche fan. How you doing? Well, my bro. Lovely to have you on board with us. Hope you're good. Where's your Isak? Still at Newcastle. Still locked up in Newcastle, I'm afraid. Still locked up in Newcastle. Hopefully, we get some good news soon. And that good news will be that Strand Larsen is going to be going to Newcastle. And that Newcastle have decided to concede the battle and go, right, throw your bid in Liverpool and we'll accept it. Ugh. At least you've got a good head of hair, makes up for Isak. All right. Sort of. It's going. It's going, though. Slowly but surely, it's going. Slowly but surely, I'm trying to make the most of it whilst I've still got it. Give it a few years and... Oh, God, I hate to think. I hate to think in a few years what it might actually be like. But hey, we've still got 4 days to go. And although my optimism for signing Isak has slowly dwindled, it's still on the positive side. And I am still leaning more towards Liverpool getting him than not in the remaining days of this transfer window. But it depends on whether Newcastle are going to be sticking their finger out or not in terms of buying a striker. And, you know, if they don't, if this Strand Larsen thing falls through and doesn't happen, then I am then going to be entirely convinced that Newcastle have just been stringing both Liverpool and Isak along. I'm going to be entirely convinced that that is the case. That Newcastle have just been stringing both Isak along and Liverpool along. They've been telling both of them that, look, we'll sell you Isak, but not until we get a replacement for him. And then they're going, oh, these clubs don't want to sell us their strikers. Oh, no. And it's like, well, they do because they're setting price tags, but you're not paying the price tag. Or you're not at least giving them a good negotiating price. Lies, lies, and more lies. Just lies. Just absolute lies. Like they've just been stringing us along, saying, "Oh, you can get him if you want, but you're gonna have to wait for us to get a replacement." Oh, look at that! We've not got them, and they've not played their cards well either in this transfer window. Newcastle. They were willing to pay 70-odd million on Ekitike. They were willing to pay at least 70-odd million on Benjamin Sesko. So teams know they have that kind of money to buy with, right? I know they've bought Jacob Ramsey in that time, and let's face it, they're the only kind of players that they can get. The kind of players where nobody else really wants them, or they're not competing with a member of like the top six, the traditional top six clubs. If they're competing with anybody else, Newcastle have a big shout in winning that race. If they compete with a Liverpool, City, United, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Chelsea, they're not going to sign those players. It's just no. They may have a shot at competing with a Tottenham, but the rest of them, the other five, definitely not. And even then, Tottenham is still a big shout. But with this Isak situation going on, teams know Newcastle are desperate, and the desperation reeks. And even though they keep saying, Isak's not for sale, Isak's not for sale, Isak's not for sale, and the Newcastle journalists are going, Isak's not for sale, and they can't find any strikers that are good enough on the market. Again, surprise, surprise, more lies, because they've been linked with near enough every single bloody striker under the sun right now. We know that the options are there. We know the options are there. The problem is that teams know they're desperate, so they're trying to rinse Newcastle for every penny that they have. And they also know that they were willing to spend 70-odd million on the likes of Sesko and Ekitike. So they know the money is there. So it's been poor on, I think it's been poor on Newcastle's part in terms of the way that they've obviously gone into negotiations and the biggest transfer window of their history so far and done this. And I think it's also poor on somewhat Isak's part for adding more fuel to the fire. I think maybe if you are to look back on it, and maybe, and like I say, I understand where Isak's coming from, but I personally think that there is a possibility that if Isak may have shut his mouth, got his head down in training, worked on his fitness, built up his fitness to build up a move away, and it could have been that Newcastle could have got a replacement by now. But the desperation reeks way too much. Way too much. Isak isn't coming to you. If you get him, you'd be too dominant. Well, that's why you do all the right stuff on and off the pitch, and you build up your team correctly to be in that kind of position. Like I said, I'm still leaning more towards that we do get him. I'm leaning more towards that we do get him still, but I'm not obviously as confident as what I was several weeks ago. Several weeks ago, I was massively confident we would get him. And now I am still confident, but I'm not as confident because time has obviously progressed and the move hasn't. Time has progressed, but the move hasn't. Big up, Ozan. Are you doing well, my bro? Lovely to have you on board with us. Absolutely love that you're here, my bro. I hope you're doing well. Would love to know what you're thinking about this situation. Are you confident we'll get Isak before Monday's deadline, or do you think it will have to be at the very least until January before we make our move? Isak is the next Messi in CR7, future multiple Ballon d'Or winner. I mean, I think it's pretty much every season now is going to be anybody's game for Ballon d'Or. I don't think we're gonna get the kind of level of consistency of a Messi or Ronaldo. And let's face it, if Isak does have a good season, scores bags of goals, helps Liverpool towards multiple accolades, it's not in the realms of possibility that he will get a Ballon d'Or, but multiple. I don't know. It depends on his consistency. What's up, Jordan? Are you doing well, my bro? I'm not. I'm afraid I'm at work later today, so I'm not free later. I'm afraid. But we should definitely do something sometime soon. Maybe sometime next week. Maybe we should do something. Maybe sometime next week. Maybe we could review Liverpool's transfer window or something along them lines. Something like that. But yeah, hopefully we do something soon, my bro. Are you nervous about Arsenal? Yes, I am. I'm not going to lie to you. I am nervous. I mean, there is the slight confidence from me is that we're at Anfield and their record there isn't great. But history is there to be made. History is there to be broken, or records should be broken, should I say. And above all, my main voice of concern is set pieces. Because Arsenal are unbelievably consistent at them. And I don't know how that's possible. And I don't understand how nobody else is picking up on this from around the other clubs and trying to work on a way to be consistent themselves. They're a cheat code from set pieces, which I don't understand how, A, nobody's found a way to defend them yet, and B, nobody's actually decided, let's take that playbook and let's use it ourselves, because why wouldn't you? It's like a cheat code. And we can't defend them. We can't attack from them. We can't defend them. So, as I mentioned earlier, bro, we're going to need Alisson and Van Dijk to perform the absolute colossal games of a lifetime in order to have a chance of beating Arsenal. Because every time that ball is placed down for a dead ball situation, whether it be a free kick or a corner, I am going to be absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified, because I have very little confidence in Konate right now. His head is in Madrid. Van Dijk can't do it all on his own. And Alisson can't do it alongside Van Dijk all on their own either. So I have very little confidence. I think we play Robertson over Kirkez. I think that's a smart move. I think Robertson over Kirkez in this situation should be the play on Sunday. I think Szoboszlai to remain at right back is the play as well. I think that's the play that we should do. Hopefully McAllister is back so we can have a McAllister Gravenberch midfield. Would I play Wirtz? I think at Anfield you kind of have to. I was debating whether or not to maybe play Curtis Jones in midfield and have Wirtz come off the bench. But I kind of feel like that Wirtz is the play. Wirtz is the play. Gakpo stays left, even despite Engamoa's goal. Gakpo stays left. Salah remains on the right, and Ekatike up front. And that the front three pretty much sorts itself out. What is his decision now? He still wants to leave. He still wants to leave, but whether or not Newcastle are going to let him, they've got a few days left of this transfer window. We shall see. Told you weeks ago it wasn't happening. And yeah, you might be right, mate. You might be right. And let's face it, with every ticking moment and every time Newcastle get rejected, it's not looking good for Liverpool. So the final card that Liverpool can play is just to chuck down the 150 million. Take it or leave it. And if they leave it, we'll know that they've been lying all summer. And if they take it, then everybody's a winner. Because although 150 million, you can argue maybe he's not worth that much. Maybe Liverpool will overpay in that situation. It might not mean anything when it comes to the end of the season and Liverpool are lifting the Premier League title for the 21st time, maybe. Liverpool are lifting the Champions League for their 7th time. Maybe they win multiple trophies at the end of the season and it's all deemed to be worth it. It could happen. We concede set pieces, they score set piece goals. Exactly, my friend. I'm not looking forward to that one bit. If we can somehow stop the ball from crossing the line for corners, great. We're halfway to beating them, or at least getting a point. Don't think we'll get Isak Fletch, but we need a senior centre-back urgently. This is why I'm confused as to why the Gay situation hasn't moved. I'm so confused as to why the Gay situation has not improved whatsoever. Like, what are we doing? That one seems so much easier to make happen. For whatever reason, we're just passing around. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's crazy. It seems to be a very easy transfer to get done, and yet we're messing around over 1 or 2 million or a few million here and there, and debating whether to buy him on a free next season. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? I'm free next week, but never mind. Yeah, man, we'll sort something out next week. Like I say, it's going to be international break, so I can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot going on. But we can do something. We can look back at Liverpool's transfer window or something. Just drop me a message or something. Whenever you're free, my bro, and we'll try and sort something out. Arsenal is strong now. Yeah, Arsenal are very balanced right now. Arsenal are very strong, very balanced. The signings that they've made this summer are big. There's no excuse now. There's no excuse for Arsenal. They had excuses last season. I didn't personally buy into them. But this season, there's no excuse. You can't be blaming injuries. You can't be blaming the squad. You can't be blaming the coaching staff. You can't be blaming the ownership. You can't be blaming the wind, the grass, the sky. You can't be blaming injuries, PGMOL, VAR, referee. You can't be blaming any of that. If you fail this season, you failed. That's on your manager. And personally, right now, I kind of feel like if you were to win anything, the credit should go to probably your set piece coach. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe your set piece coach should become your manager. Because from open play, not exactly amazing. Still good in certain cases, but not amazing. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Oh dear. Big up, Legend. Big up to you, Bush Baptist. How you doing? Well, my bro. Some people say we have defensive problems. We do, because we changed 50% of our defense, but we've scored 7 goals and got 6 points out of 2 games. And what I will say as well, the games that we've got points out of, they're difficult games. Like, okay, we're at home to Bournemouth. We should be beating them 100%. But Bournemouth are not exactly an easy team to beat. We get the 3 points. We're all good. St. James's Park, as I said yesterday, is one of the toughest, most difficult away grounds to go to in the Premier League. We go there, second game of the season. We're not quite in our rhythm yet. We've got no right back for a start. No proper right back. Frimpong's injured. Connor Bradley is not match fit. And Joe Gomez would have probably been broken yesterday. And we get the 3 points. We didn't play well. We probably didn't deserve the win. But a champion's win, champion mentality, that got us through the game. And a 16-year-old kid stepped up when it mattered most and pulled off one incredible finish to win us the game. And yes, we made it a lot more difficult than we should have done, because there's absolutely no way we should have conceded the way that we did. There's no way we should have let them back into the game the way they did. But our defense, like you said, has problems. And here's the thing as well. Monday, Kirkes defended poorly, 100% for the first goal. But I thought his overall game was actually okay. From Kirkes. The problem wasn't necessarily him, a new player. The problem, in my opinion, was Konate. Made us so nervy, so awkward at times, and then, of course, didn't really defend in any way, shape, or form for the second goal. I know Gravenberch is tracking the runner and he stops, but Konate's role in that goal was poor. I say, if his head is in Madrid, go to Madrid. Why we're still messing around with this Gahey deal, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. It seems like it's there for the taking. But for whatever reason, we're messing around. I'm hoping by Friday we get something on the Gahey deal. I'm hoping by Friday we do. I'm easy like Sunday morning about our next game. I really do think we will win. Well, it hasn't quite clicked yet, but it will soon. And this will be the game where we show our best. I really hope you're right. I really, really do hope you're right. I'm nervous. I am nervous, I will admit. But I hope you're right. I really hope I hope we do arrive at the forefront. I hope we take the game to Arsenal. I hope we stand on their necks and don't let up, metaphorically speaking, of course. And not only that, but the one thing that Arsenal are clinging on to right now is this: we haven't lost a game to the Big Six in over 1,070 days, or whatever ridiculous number it is. What an incredible way it would be if we were to go and beat them and end that record. then they've got nothing. Then they have nothing. And the record means nothing anyway, by the way. The record is absolutely ridiculous. The record is stupid. The record is it doesn't mean anything if obviously you can't back it up by having something to show for it at the end, right? But a lot of Arsenal fans keep piping up about this record that Mikel Arteta and Arsenal have put together over the years. We've not lost to a Big Six club in over 1,000 days. Let's just take the last tiny insignificant thing away from Arsenal, which would be, even at this early stage of the season, a massive mental advantage, not just for Liverpool to obviously beat a title rival at this early stage, but also it will send a message to everybody else that this Arsenal side are beatable. This Arsenal side are not all they're cracked up to be. They may have spent big money. They may have got that star striker that they've apparently been missing for the past 2 or 3 years that stopped them from winning the title. But they are beatable. Who cares about their midfield? They're beatable. Who cares about their new signings? Eze and Gyökeres, Zubimendi, whoever. Who cares? They're beatable. Who cares? Who cares? Fletch, does Slot start Szoboszlai again at right back? I would. There was no reason to suggest why you shouldn't. I'd start Szoboszlai at right back. I thought he was very, very good on Monday. I thought he was very good on Monday. Even when we moved him to more of his natural position, I thought he was very, very good still. I thought he was one of our better performing players, Szoboszlai, throughout the entirety of the game. And is Odegaard fit? Does anybody know if Odegaard's fit for the game? I know obviously he came off against Leeds. Is he fit for the game on Sunday? I know Saka's injured. He's been included in a Norway squad, Odegaard, so it doesn't seem like it's too big of an injury concern. Because I'm just thinking who his opponent will be. And I feel like if they are to run the risk with Odegaard, then it obviously Eze makes his debut and it's Eze against Szoboszlai on that left-hand side, which could be interesting. If they don't, then it will obviously be Martinelli. Now, the problem I have with Martinelli is Martinelli normally saves his best performances for Liverpool. Martinelli is normally a thorn in the Liverpool side. He has Trent on toast every single game that we've played in recent years. And he normally pops up with a goal. Obviously, this time around, there is no Trent. So, for me, obviously, Szoboszlai does have to start. I would not play Conor Bradley. I'd bet him in slowly. Maybe, depending on Frimpong's injury and whether or not he's going to make it for Burnley after the international break, it's obviously a good opportunity, Burnley, to rotate. Plus, as well as that, you'll also have the Champions League that will restart very soon after. So, again, the rotation is going to have to be taken into account for those games as well. But yeah, it's an interesting one because it probably will be Eze who makes his debut. But whether or not Eze is going to be in the 10 or on the wide position is going to be an interesting one because we don't know the severity of of Odegaard's injury. If Odegaard is going to play, fair. If not, it probably will be Eze on the left. That's what I'm imagining anyway. Maybe Arsenal fans maybe can tell me differently. I don't know. He did really well at right back at Sunday. Yeah, he did. He really, like I say, he was one of our better performing players on the day, and I was really worried about that position to begin with. And I'm so glad that he didn't go Curtis Jones at right back. I thought Curtis Jones was better in the middle, and I thought Curtis Jones actually had a solid game. I still have concern with Curtis Jones because he will take one too many touches from time to time. Apparently, what Arne Slot said was for Engamoa's goal. Apparently, Slot came out and said that allegedly a Liverpool player came up to Engamoa afterwards and said that in that situation he'd have took a touch rather than hit it first time like Rio did. And the first comment underneath was, "I bet that player was Curtis Jones." That definitely amused me, but that's the only criticism. I like Curtis Jones. I'm not like his biggest fan or whatever, but I do see a player in there. Just my only problem with him is just release the ball quicker. Just release the ball quicker. That's all I ask of you. Release the ball quicker. Like sometimes it's okay when you can take an extra couple of touches. Sometimes it's needed, but it's not needed all the time. It's not needed all the time. Just pass the ball a little quicker. Get the momentum going in that move. Do something to try and stretch the defense or make them make a move that you can exploit the space in behind. All of that kind of stuff. Do something. Quicken the tempo. I think all the deals we are involved in, one being played by the team we are buying off just so we don't have to have them players until deadline day. I don't think it's Liverpool playing games on the deals. Yeah, we're just waiting on them. We're pretty much waiting on them, aren't we? We are pretty much waiting on other teams in this situation. Well, we are in the Isak case anyway. I don't necessarily know what's going on with the Gahey situation. The Gahey situation is mad to me. It's like he's right there. And we're so close to a deal. But yet, rather than just pull the trigger, we're not. And the mad thing is that we could pull the trigger right now and probably get him signed up, sealed, and he could be in the squad for Sunday. He could be in the squad for Sunday. But for whatever reason, it's taking its time. Yeah, I agree. It was definitely Curtis Jones. It was definitely Curtis Jones. He would have taken 4 touches and then tried to go around the goalkeeper and back heel it in. Just do the simple stuff, Kurt. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Big up to you, Reluctant Gamer. Hope everything was okay at the doctors, my dude. Hope everything's okay with you. What is the best 25-26 kit in world football? Oh, there's some very, very nice kits out there right now. Some very, very nice kits out there right now. I don't know. There's some very, very nice kits out there right now. A lot of good home kits. Not so many away kits I've found this year, but a lot of good home kits. Like I say, Liverpool's, I might be slightly biased there, but Liverpool's looks good. Nottingham Forest home kit actually looks very nice as well. There's always like the typical kind of solid home kits of other clubs as well. The typical sort of like Dortmund's, and I think even PSG's looks all right this year. And I don't know. It's mainly away shirts. Mainly the away shirts, and I can't even. I don't know. Like none of the away. I mean, Arsenal's away shirt is decent, I guess. Not a massive fan of Villa's. Brentford's looks. Brentford's is weird. I'm not a massive fan of the colour on Brighton's. Crystal Palace are looking like Wolves. I don't know what the hell's going on with Everton's. Fulham's is all right. Leeds is okay. I don't know what the hell is going on with that Man City one. That Man City one is god awful. Man United looks like Liverpool's of several years ago. Of course, Newcastle have gone with the Saudi green. Can't go wrong with what Forest have done. Can't go wrong with what Sunderland have done. Tottenham's is good. I like Tottenham's away shirt. I remember them playing in it actually. Now that I've just remember seeing it on Saturday against City, it looks a good shirt. West Ham's is okay. Wolves is okay. I don't know. It seems to be there's a lot of home shirts this year that are good. Away shirts, not so much. Not so much. I got my kit collection 25-26 on my channel. I'm still waiting on the AC Milan kit authentic. Nice. Very nice. Liverpool home does look nice. Yeah, I got it short sleeve because I prefer short sleeve, but you know what? The long sleeve shirt version does look very nice. Probably going to be seeing a lot more of the long sleeve as the winter nights draw in. Real Madrid third kit, blue tees fail logo looks cool. I haven't actually seen the Real Madrid third kit. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a quick look. Real Madrid third kit. Oh, that actually, you know what? As much as it is Real Madrid, and you know, I dislike them. That actually is a nice kit, you know. That actually is very nice. Very nice from Real Madrid. That. Just wait until our green third kit is released. I mean, is it going to be green? Is it green? Is it definitely green? I didn't know if it was just a rumor. I don't know if that was just a rumor or not. We shall see anyway. We shall see indeed. In a few weeks, you'll look back at the stream and say, why did I question if the third kit is green or not? Like, I heard rumors it was green. I just didn't know if it was, like, genuine or not. Because every single year you get those kind of things where it's like, oh, Liverpool's new kit has been leaked, or so-and-so's new kit's been leaked. And then it actually comes to the day of release, and then it's like, well, it's nothing like what they said it was. There's a different pattern, there's a different design, there's a different colour, there's different everything about it. And yet, you know, apparently a few weeks ago it was being leaked that it was going to be like orange, and then, oh, it turns out it's green or whatever. Like, and I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to believe. I just know that I just know that the home kit looks great. The home kit does look great. I'm not a massive fan of the away one. Like, the white's nice and everything, but I don't know. I'm not the red. Usually the red normally goes really well with it, but and I still like it. But I'm more into the home kit than I am the away kit this year. So that's why I bought it, and that's why I bought my daughter one as well, because I'm converting her into being a Liverpool fan. So we'll be there Sunday. Fun times indeed. Right, last little check. Anything broken in the meantime, and then we are going to get out of here. Nope, don't appear like it. Don't appear like anything's really broken. Bet something. I'm at work tonight. I bet something's going to break then. I bet something's going to break while I'm at work. And I'm not able to do anything about it. No, nothing. Hopefully we get some movement on Strand Larsen. Fingers crossed Strand Larsen deal does get done to Newcastle. And then fingers crossed the domino effect then lands that Alexander Isak will be going to Liverpool. But things are going to move very quickly. Things are going to move very, very quickly. There is just over 5 days left. Just over 5 days left. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, 7 p.m. So just over 5 days left at the time of recording this, at the time of going live, just over 5 days left of the transfer window. Will Alexander Isak get done to Liverpool? Will Jorgen Strand Larsen be his replacement at Newcastle United? What is going to happen in the remaining days of this transfer window? Look, guys, I can't thank each and every one of you enough for being here on this Wednesday afternoon. Thank you all so much for being here. Really do appreciate it from you all. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And of course, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Really, really does mean the world to me. Thank you all. Thank you all for contributing in the chat. Thank you all for being here. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. You guys are awesome. Cannot thank you enough. Really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one, regardless of what it will be. Take care. Take it easy. Have a good rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.